Welcome to our Wednesday Thoughts. This is a series where we look at things in the world, really, not just in swimming, but different coaching styles, things outside of swimming culture, whether it's football, basketball, track, black culture, and look for things that we can add to the swimming culture, not even add, replace within the swimming culture to take the sport to the next level. So, without further ado, let's jump in. All right, so this first one for y'all who don't know, this is Greg Olsen. He was a tight end for the Panthers when Cam Newton was there. And then this one reel, they're talking about building a winning culture versus developing young athletes, and how, focusing too much on one can cause you to miss the other. So let's see what he's talking about.
And if you just focus on the winning culture, oftentimes development gets left behind. If you go all in on the development culture, you can have both. It's a little bit of a more difficult journey if you don't have the best players, but in the long term, it's best for the kids, and you can build a winning culture. Like, talk a little bit about that dynamic. And again, I know it's a big part of what you've written about and what you've studied.
Making sure that we're teaching as many kids as possible, as long as possible, in the best environment possible, letting them hit puberty, and then starting to say, okay, well, which kid actually might make it? Because I don't know that answer until they're done growing. And for boys, I mean, you might be talking 20, 21, 22,
No
right?
doubt.
Girls a little younger. So especially in youth sports, just teaching everyone, giving everyone meaningful playing time, holding them all to a high standard, and not at a very young age selecting out a few, because you probably picked just the oldest kids or the most developmentally aged kids, but you probably didn't pick the ones who might be good long term.
Our episode with John O'Sullivan is out now on all platforms.
All right, guys. So one thing I want to point out is what he said about development. Now, those of y'all who know, with my Wrigley content, I'm a big fan of Swim Canada's long-term development plan. And in their plan, they talk about how developmental age is not the same for everybody, right? And I don't think he meant that, but I think that's the best way to interpret it, right? So you may have a kid who matures early. Those of you who in Texas, you may know the name Maverick Smalley. He was a phenom, pretty much. He was like a grown man at age 10. And I think he probably still has a bunch of records for the state of Texas. Ended up becoming swimming at SMU, but he plateaued pretty hard. So when you're building this culture, right, and this has, we see this in swimming all the time, where we tend to gravitate, not we, because I don't do it, coaches tend to gravitate towards their fastest kids, right? Like, you'll have a group that has, a wide range, where you maybe have, let's say, a B swimmer. For those of you who, no, I can't pull it up. For those of you who don't know what that is, it's pretty much the lowest time standard, other than not having a B time, right? It's B, double B, A, double A, triple A, quad A. Quad A pretty much puts you on the path to being a junior national qualifier, right? So junior national qualifier is someone going like 51.0 long course and 100 free before they turn 19. Senior Nats 49, right? Long course meters. So the thing that I think it's very important to realize, and this is actually going to play into the next video too, let me double check. Yeah, is in swimming, like I said, we tend to gravitate towards the fastest kid. And I think that that's a terrible way to build a program. I've always believed this, and it's true in basketball, it's true in football. You're only as strong as your weakest link. Swimming is not like that, because you can, get famous off of having one swimmer. We know plenty of famous coaches who are like that, whether we like them or not. And Eddie used to always say too, so, kindred spirit, don't, anybody can make a fast kids fast. Don't judge me by them, judge me by everybody else. And with my Wrigley content, that's even the case, right? Like, the fast kids, they need to actually, go to these fast meets where they get the secrets and they make these travel teams where they get to talk to these Olympians and learn the same stuff I teach through Rakely. But then we're also teaching, like an Olympic athlete teaching was going to teach like, okay, move like this, feel like this. What we've done with Rakely is we've taken that and converted it into actual drill progressions to teach those feelings to everybody, so everybody can get faster. And when you're building a winning culture, it's the how it happens, right? So, or development culture, I'm sorry. Really both, right? Sorry about that, guys. Allergies a little bit. But we want to make sure that how we build our winning culture is completely dependent on our developmental culture, right? So we're not even really competing to go fast. We're not competing. We're not in the sport to go fast, right? And maybe that's the top level where we're in sport, the top layer where we're here to win. We're here to, be the fastest we can be and dominate our competition. But, you go layers down, it's our practice habits, how those things, I've talked about this in other YouTube videos, right? Our habits we want as individuals to build. If the next layer requires not those habits, we don't do them, right? So the layer after that is, we go from practice or human habits, the habits of being an elite person, into practice habits, and from practice habits into how we coach and we teach and our mental effort, and then into performance. And if it doesn't pass the first level, right? So let's just say cheating, right? That's an obvious one. Yeah, we can cheat, and that would get us better practice habits, which would get us better mental habits, which would get us better competitive results, right? But obviously we don't want to cheat. Now, the other way you look at this is cheating. Yeah, it gives you great results, but then it's not a great mental work ethic habit, right? And it doesn't do anything to practice habits, and it's a terrible human habit. So we're not going to implement it. And that's what I think is developmental culture. It's how you go about being fast, right? Like, if we can do this thing and win, but it doesn't make us a better developmental prospect. It doesn't teach us the things that, it's a Band-Aid. There we go. That's the right word, right? It doesn't teach us the things we need to actually compete at a high level. It just helps us, or it doesn't teach us the things to be a high level person, right? Which is going to be our habits and practice and how we approach those habits and practice mentally. So if it doesn't do those two things, you're just building a winning culture without a development culture that will sustain it, allow your lesser talented athletes, as he said, people get focused on their high talent, that will allow your lesser talented athletes to also be able to compete. And something to keep in mind, here in the U.S., we have the gold medal or the Club Excellence program, right? Your gold medal teams, top 25 teams in the country, and then I think it's the next 300 of your silver medal teams, and then anybody can be a bronze medal team if they qualify. And to be a gold medal team, your athlete has to swim, I think, a top 100 time in the world. I think it's top 100. And then that's where twice as many points. So you have your FINA score or whatever, the power score, that you double that. And then, but now to be a gold medal team, you can't just have one event, right? You got to have multiple events, and then you got to have multiple kids. So if you have a gold medal kid, your team qualifies for gold medal club. But then you still got to have other scorers. And this is where we get the concept where, you're only as strong as your weakest link. Are you trying to build a culture, a team, and organization, or are you just trying to have winners? So this takes us, like I said, into our next thing.
I'm not a coach, but I am, as you said, the head of the snake. So when the guy at the end of the bench is like, hey man, I can do that, man. I should be getting more minutes, man. Like, hey man, it's we and they. It's separating the team, the guy at the end of the bench. So it's very, very important as a leader, as a coach, to the end of the bench, the 15th guy, the 12th guy has to be positive. Because if that guy is positive, it translates all the way to the front. You get what I'm saying? I think it's important. And I think in winning teams, everybody know the roles is clear. They know the roles. They know when they get the opportunity, they have to be ready, but also they don't disrupt the rhythm and the energy of the team. I'm not a coach, but
so here Giannis Antetokounmpo, Giannis, is basically talking about the same thing, right? The end of the bench guys, the guys who don't really play, the guys that don't matter. But I truly believe this. I call them glue guys. Your glue guys are the most important people on your team, right? Like that's where your championships are built. It's not from the top swimmers. Your top swimmer can definitely be a glue guy. I was when I was in at Round Rock High School and then at UT. But they're usually the guys who are, I don't want to say happy to be there, but the guys who ground you. There's a good word, right? So you have all these people who are just hyper competitive, and then you got the people who are cracking jokes. You got the people who are hey, like you can do this, being encouraging. You got the people who make a team feel like a team, right? That go that extra mile to add the human element of fun and humor and love and caring, like the glue, and they do the hard work that nobody's willing to do, right? Like maybe they fill up your water bottle for you just as like on some friendship stuff, right? Hey, I'm gonna go get this. You want one? They're always worried about everybody else because they know they're not scoring, right? They know they're not going to go to some championship meet, so they're trying to contribute in other ways. And those guys are so important because when you're like, especially in a sport like swimming, and this is honestly happening at UT to my knowledge. I don't know about now, but definitely before Bob got there and after I had left, I was told this was happening, is that everybody started focusing on themselves and nobody was, I guess it would be after kind of, I'm not going to say that. But everybody was focusing on themselves and not helping each other. But when I was there, like Ricky and Jimmy and Garrett Weber-Gale and Cole were helping me. I'm helping Surhoff with what I see. He's helping me with what he sees and that's obviously like I could, we're swimming different events, but theoretically I could take his spot, right? So the purpose of it is if I help you swim faster, that's going to make me practice faster and I'm going to get better, right? And that, like, you got to have those glue people to instill and keep that feeling alive. Like they preserve that because they're not there to score points, right? They maybe even be there for grades, right? To keep the team GPA up. But you need those glue guys to preserve that human element and have everybody looking at the team as a team, whereas instead of a bunch of individuals that you're in competition with. Yeah, you might win some titles that way, but you need the team element to be champions consistently or to compete at a championship level consistently.
Man, you kick somebody out of practice and the group shapes up. And I haven't kicked a kid out of practice in so long. But there was a point in my career where once a month somebody was getting kicked out for like effort or intensity. And looking back, was it the most positive thing? I don't know. But I will tell you this. When I was a younger coach, I had to cover the top high school group. And on some teams, this is like the scariest group to coach because they're the really good swimmers. They're used to their coach and they start treating you like substitute teacher when you walk in. And on our current team, we've built up an amazing culture where any coach can come onto any team and run their practice. Like maybe not write the workout, but they can run the practice. And the kids better be squared away. Like we don't get problems like that. But this was not the case. This was like 12 years ago. And I was coaching two senior groups at the same time. We had like our top end guys and our mid-level guys. And the mid-level guys were crushing it. They were doing so good. And the top end guys, like they weren't keeping track of intervals. They weren't doing the right intensity. And I tried talking to a few of them. And then like halfway through practice, I said, okay, everybody hop out. This group's crushing. This group thinks they're really good for some reason because I guess they're fast. But I'm done with them. They're not trying. So you guys are excused. And I kicked out like 12 kids. You're excused. And you guys, let's finish practice. We're having a great time. And, of course, I would follow that up with an email. Like, that's just how it goes. Like, let the parents know, hey, we kicked everybody out of practice today. They were doing a bad job. I hope we have a better next one. But man, that was the last time I had a problem with that group. It was great after that. So I would just say tread lightly. You know, if you lose your cool and you kick people out, that's really bad. As a coach, you should never lose control emotionally. But man, you kick somebody out of practice.
Shout out to Coach Mike. He has been on a tear with these reels. You know, I've seen 3 in a row that I really resonate with. And on the kicking people out of practice, right? I think the most important thing is not really the kicking out. It's having a backbone as a coach, right? Like you could not know or have like the clout, right? Like I remember where I've substituted before and my name carried me, right? So the kids gave me the respect right away. But how I carried myself matters too. Like I could have the name and be, well, I think, and well, let's do this. Like I come in and I'm like, hey, this is what we're doing. Boom, boom, boom. I want it done this way. Boom, boom, boom. I'm gonna teach you how to do it this way. And then we're gonna move on to this thing. Boom, we're done. And then we got 10 minutes left of practice. We'll do a social kick and we're out of here, right? Now, obviously, I don't explain the whole practice, but the point I'm making is how you carry yourself goes a long way, right? Like what do they say? Like you walk into a business meeting and a track jumpsuit versus a suit, like they're gonna treat you differently. So I think it's having a backbone and carrying yourself. I won't say like a know-it-all, but like you belong, like you know what you're doing here. And I've learned in life that anytime I failed, it wasn't because of preparation, right? I'm an over-preparer for sure. But maybe I didn't have the tangible results to give myself the confidence that what I was going to do was going to work, right? And then I go do it and lose, and the person who beat me, like they had the tangible results, but the confidence that gave them is what separated me, right? So it's like I'm almost not believing in my preparation. So I had to change that. And I'm sure you'll notice that I talk very, very, very confidently. It's because I prepare myself very, very well, very thoroughly. And I have a choice to make, like, am I going to let the lack of, not that I don't have the results or I won't get them, I'll get them. But am I going to let the not having the results yet dictate who I am as a coach, as an athlete, as a friend, as a, whatever, as a human being? And the answer is no. Like, if you did the work that gets you the results, carry yourself like you got the results already, because that's just a matter of time that needs to pass for you to have the results. So when I carry myself like I'm the world's greatest technique coach ever, it's because I know where I'm going. I know the work I'm doing. Like, I'm not going to wait to have the results to start being that person. Like, I am that person. So I'm going to be it. And that, to me, like, that carrying yourself with that type of energy is what gets you the respect where you don't have to throw kids out. Now, on the particular thing of throwing kids out, I think where he messed up, like everything is about making a statement. It's never about winning. It's never about losing. It's about making a statement. And if you really wanted to make a statement with throwing people out of practice, you throw everybody out. And the reason why is, for me, culture. We are a team. We are here together. And this is, I've had parents be like, why does this matter? Like, it's an individual sport. And it's like, because your kid's going to be on a team one day in their job and somebody's not going to do their work, or they're going to be in school and somebody's not going to do their part in a group project, and he's going to have to do twice as much work to preserve the grade, right? Or they're going to vote. Like, I remember I had a group project and I had to do this guy's portion, and we voted for him. We all gave him a 0. Like, that was our vote for him, the guy who didn't do anything. And I ended up getting the highest grade of our group, 96. But, carried that joint, our group project. But the point I'm making is, like, you're going to end up in these situations, and these kids need to understand the importance of, one, doing their role so that way the whole group can thrive. But two, the consequences of not doing your role. And the third, and probably the most important thing, is that you can impact as an individual other people who are messing up, which is probably the most important part, right? That's leadership skills right there, which, like I said, we have those layers that we're working up through as people, as practice habits, mental habits, performance. knowing that you're about to get thrown out of practice because somebody's messing up and you go over there or you fight them first, right? You swing first so that way it doesn't become an issue and everybody else knows to straighten up, or you're encouraging whatever it is. How you utilize throwing people out of practice can be a very, very important skill, not only for getting your self-respect as a coach, but developing your culture. All right, let's move on to our last one. I think this one's very interesting to me. I think it's in another language, though.
Dos melhores nadadores do mundo nos 800 e 1.500 metros nado livre e nos 5 e 10 quilômetros da maratona aquática. Muitos vão criticar o nado dele. Nada feio, que a perna
All right, so this guy is a open water swimmer, right? And, you know, looking at his freestyle, super janky. It's terrible. You can even see his hands like sideways, which we know sideways hands means you're not rolling to where the fingertips point down to make sure you stay in your pull line. But let's keep watching. Okay, so here's what I want to say about technique. When I say somebody has bad technique, whether it's a Caleb Dressel, whether it's a Torrey Husk, whether it's a Ian Thorpe, this is why. If you take that same swimming style and you give it to, let's break it down into 3 separate groups, right? You have your untalented swimmers, your core group of swimmers, and then your high talent swimmers, and you had taught them all how to swim exactly like that. Are you going to get good results from it? Now, the high talent athletes, maybe. Your core athletes, you're probably going to end up missing on the lower 60% of your core athletes. And your untalented athletes are probably going to look very, very poor, right? So when I say something is good technique or bad technique, it's how does it convert to the next generation, right? That's the first thing. And then obviously you have actual math involved where your arm is this long. If you move this way, it shortens your arm this much, which means you're moving less water, which means you're losing deceleration or you're pushing yourself in the wrong direction, whatever, right? Whatever that math equation is. So with a swimmer like this, I think it's very interesting to watch because I think we can assume a few things off of this terrible technique. One is that he might be fast because he has a lot of overcompensations going on. I think it's not a question. He does. And he's out toughing and out athleting his technique, right? And that's something I think a lot of people need to be very aware of. Like I think in this, he's talking about how you shouldn't change techniques. I remember somehow I changed. There we go. Try not to change the whole motor pattern. It's not to have a beautiful swim, but an efficient swim. And I agree. But all this wiggling, like those are overcompensations that you have to account for. And I think something that's very important to realize about this guy is he's a 10K swimmer, right? Now, there's an obvious level of toughness that goes with that. But the thing is, right, the wiggling. I think this is very important because if you have younger swimmers swimming with older swimmers, they're probably doing this to a degree and it's pulling wider, right? So younger swimmers or smaller bodied swimmers swimming with swimmers who make waves will start pulling out here like this because it allows them to be stable and keep themselves swimming in a straight line. Obviously, they lose almost all of their power pulling like that, right? We want to swim more hand in the shoulder line. So when you think about him wiggling, there's a high chance that all of those ill techniques are designed to help him combat waves and other swimmers, right? Like I bet if you put him in an open water race, I bet he looks like he's swimming in a straight line underwater and not wiggling all over the place. So, but as far as his actual swim here, I think you take his wiggling, because all the side-to-side wiggling means is you got energy that should be twisting or rotating, and because it's not happening on time, it's jackknifing side to side. So, and part of this, biomechanical adjustments are part of the evolution, but trying to change the whole motor pattern, I'd change it. I'd change it. I'd at least have him experiment with it, see if he likes it, and if he doesn't, don't do it. But I would clean up this energy pathway that he has going all over the place. Which would be a pretty easy fix too, because let's see, we gotta get back underwater. Okay, when are we gonna go back underwater? Jeez. Sorry, guys. Oh my goodness. So, okay, I guess we're not going back underwater. Okay, here we go. All right, so let's see what we got on the anchor kicks, right? So he has a sprint timing on that anchor kick, and this is common amongst distance swimmers. Usually you want to see the anchor up front, but every once in a while you'll have distance swimmers who connect in the back. All right, and then on his other side, that one looks like it's pretty good. So boom. So yeah, it's pretty much just a rotation issue. You just got to get him aligned. You don't need to change much. Good 2-beat kick. Maybe you keep his thighs a little closer so his legs aren't just dangling all over the place. And that's what I'm saying about the open water swim, because you can see how his legs dangling are being used as rudders to keep him swimming in a straight line. So, obviously he doesn't need to do that. And he's out swimming everybody else through pure toughness and training habits. So, that. And here's the thing about technique, right? Is people forget that they have a target on their back. And the cleaner swimmer, like, you're going to wait till the cleaner swimmer beats you before you decide to change. Like, no, like you can't give your competitors confidence. So I think that not changing it is a terrible idea. At least have something for pool swimming and something for open water. I think that's the best way to go about it. But anyway, guys, that's the last video. Make sure that you leave a like, drop a comment. Which video did you like the best? Did you like that? What do you think about his jackknifey, janky technique? What do you think about kicking kids out of practice, as a tool, both to build your culture, but also, you need to see some respect, toss them all out. Do you think Coach Mike was right tossing out half, or should he have tossed out the whole group like I think he should have done? Giannis, and then the first video on winning culture versus developmental culture, do you look at the sport as you're only as strong as your weakest link, right? Like once I get a kid who I know is good enough, I check them off, and then I'm just making sure they don't lose it, and I'm focused on everybody else, particularly the next wave, and then you move them up, and then you focus on, I'm trying to move everybody up as quickly as possible so I can focus on the kids. Not to move them up, but get their situation sorted so I can focus on the kids who need time. Because I personally believe this. A lot of your best swimmers are not your most talented swimmers. They're kids that just need a little belief and time because they're there, they want to be there, right? So, but anyway, yeah, let me know what you guys think about those things. Leave us a like, drop a comment, and turn that notification bell so you can be notified whenever we drop videos. Peace.